Hello, my beautiful viewers. So you don't have me today. You've got this card. And there's a very, very specific reason you've got this card today. God has been asking me. He asked me, I believe it was on Friday. Yes, it was. Friday night, had a big chat. He asked me to do a reading about this guy or girl. It's just the energy. This particular card, on Friday night, he asked me to do it, and I've asked three times I've asked, can I please not do it on Monday, because it's a lot. There's so much here, and I know I'm going to miss things. I may have to, come back to it at a later date, but it's a big topic, and I don't have a lot of time today. This is a particularly busy day for me, and I won't get a chance to make another video now for quite a few days, so I really didn't want to do it. I asked 3 times. I did. And he would not budge. So he actually has budged on the 3 posts a week thing. So he did say that's fine. If you really only want to do 2, that's okay. 2 posts a week until the end of October is fine. But this one he did not budge on. So he wants me to post it today. And as you know, I do what I'm told. So the first thing he kept saying on Friday night was Merlin. He kept saying Merlin, Merlin, Merlin. And then it just kind of unraveled from there. I won't bore you with the details, but essentially we have here, this is a magician card, and this was the one he showed me, which is why I'm using this deck. Okay, there's our Merlin. Okay, now there is so much you could say about Merlin, and that's the problem. I don't know where to start. Okay, I've not, it's not like I've planned a presentation or anything like that. But essentially, Merlin is a very different type of magician. He's not like your Gandalf, not like your Dumbledore. He's a very enigmatic magician, okay? And there have been, so I did do a little bit of research on him. Now, I will say, though, that I actually grew up reading the stories of King Arthur. And Avalon and the Knights of the Round Table. That was one of the stories that I always loved. In fact, even went to when I was in Wales. In the middle of nowhere, I found myself in this massive King Arthur themed world, you might say, and that was just like heaven for me, or Avalon. But yes, it does resonate with me anyway. But I wasn't aware that the character of Merlin is so, there's no unified version of this character. There have been so many different iterations of Merlin throughout the centuries. You cannot just get one unified version of him. Depending on which author and which century, which poet was writing about him, you're either going to be, reading about a wizard who had, strong links to Christendom, or you're going to be reading about, and this is a bit I didn't know, a wizard who was actually demon spawn. Yeah, a wizard who was actually, by some authors' accounts, this was a wizard or a magician who did not actually have a father. He was the offspring of a lust-possessed demon and a beautiful maiden. And so he was actually put here to be the Antichrist. And that is interesting because I did not know that. How many times now have I said, or twice actually, but it was, they were both very powerful readings. I have talked about how this guy looks like an imposter and he wants to be this guy. Yeah, I have drawn the connection in the past. I have sensed it, felt it. I did my nails this morning and I forgot to get rid of that. Oh well. I'm not perfect. I had picked up on that there was something going on with these two, but I'd not picked up on that. He was actually brought to topple him over, according to some authors' accounts. But then what happened was the plan was thwarted because he was actually baptized. I think that's all I really want to say. Some people say that the reason he possesses all that supernatural knowledge is actually because it's dark. It's a demonic knowledge that's been given to him. And that is something that I have touched on a long time ago where I did talk about, and the Bible mentions it as well. I've said you have to be very careful, with fortune tellers, with tarot readers. Not everybody who has seer capacities or who's able to read people or read fortune, whatever you want to call it, not all these people are necessarily coming from the light. Yeah. So the devil, for want of a better word, the devil can also give people abilities. Yeah. And sometimes they will really resonate. They'll really, really resonate so that people believe. Yeah. That's the whole point, right? If they didn't resonate, would you even listen to any more of it? Yeah, it's got to hit you somewhere. That it's got to land somewhere. In order to land, it has to kind of feel true for you. And this is where, the Bible talks about, I wasn't actually planning on talking about the Bible, but obviously someone's talking through me here. The Bible does talk about how, in the end of days, there will be people or teachers who do tickle your ears. Yeah. And this is, it's something actually that I heard on a channel that I listen to quite often, because I find him, very informative and entertaining. And I think he watches me actually, because I keep saying things and then he kind of brings them up in his readings, unless we just have a telepathic connection. But he was saying this morning that, it's dangerous to, or was it the other day, that it's dangerous to ignore the darkness. That, if you're a light warrior, then you're ignoring the dark. Please understand, and I hope I've made that abundantly clear on my channel, that if you are a light warrior, what that means is you are at war with something. And if you're in the light, what are you at war with? You are at war with the forces of darkness. Okay. But it doesn't mean, like, no true light warrior ignores the presence of the darkness. Of course not. And you have to understand it. Yeah. And I've always actually been interested in warfare. One of my favorite books is The Art of War. I read a lot of military books. But in the same way, yes, if you are in the light, if you are fighting for the light, you have to understand the darkness. That also applies to within yourself too. Yeah. I just want to say that, your own shadow, because you can see yourself as this as well. This is your shadow. This is you in the light. Yeah. And it's about reconciling both aspects of yourself. I'm going Jungian there. What did I want to say about that? Yes, okay. So that brings me to the next thing. Okay, we're only at 6 minutes. That's good. This Magician card, as I've said before, I have mixed feelings about it, but I hadn't really articulated it well. All I say is I just usually kind of do a hand gesture and say, I see this in two different ways. No, what God wants me to say is this card is a spectrum, yeah? Probably of all the cards on the deck, because there's a reason he's bringing this card out, yeah? I feel like it might be the most misunderstood, and I'm including myself in that category, okay? No ego here, including myself in that category. I've talked about him as a trickster. Some people do see Merlin as that as well, by the way. I've talked about him as a trickster, and I've talked about him as, I've sometimes said when I'm talking about you, the viewer, that I get a really good feeling from it. But there are so many different, it's like think of it as an ice cream shop, right? So many different flavors of this magician. It is a spectrum. So when you look at this card, please, for any readers, take a little bit longer than you normally would. Yeah. It's too easy to throw this thing down and say, magician. Okay. So yes, someone's manifesting something, or yes, you got everything you need. There is a lot more than that, because what kind of magician do we have here? Do we have, obviously in the darkest end of the spectrum could be somebody demonic. It could be. And we need to talk about these things. We can't sugarcoat things, yeah? It could be somebody who is in absolute devil energy. Or you could have somebody who is actually now, moving into that energy. You could have somebody who is manifesting unconsciously, yeah, and that's dangerous. That can be dangerous too, especially if their heart's not right. You could have somebody who is maybe a weaker magician as well. They're not all created equally. So where are you? Because I did a reading, my last reading. Remember I told you that I heard a voice in my ears saying 2 souls need to be honed and interboned. And I elaborated on the interboned part of it. I didn't elaborate on the honed part of it. Honed, you have to hone your skills, yeah? To what degree are you honing your skills? What skills do you have? What is your potentiality? Yeah, Merlin can't be Merlin unless he had that potentiality in the first place. But then what are you doing? What skills are you honing? How are you honing them? And why? What is your motivation? Is it for yourself? Is it for others? I'm not going to answer these. These are all very existential questions, and I'm not here to tell you what to do. All I'm saying is see this magician as a spectrum and take a little bit longer when you pull this card to really feel the energy of this magician. Not just look at it. Okay, that's another message. Don't just look at it. I know sometimes you look at things and what's the first thing my eye is drawn to? Yeah, I'm not saying don't do that, but take a little bit longer, because then you also need to feel, okay? And you don't always necessarily feel instantly. It's about taking yourself out of it and feeling the energy of that card. That's if you're reading for another person. But the other message, the very important message, oh yes, now my heart is is skipping some beats and has made me cough. So someone's with me. I don't know who it is. I'm not going to jump to conclusions, but whoever it is, somebody who's in the light, a being of light. I'm looking at Jesus as I say this, by the way. He's looking back at me. Yeah, could be you. I hope it's you. Anyway, they want to say to also not just keep using tarot to find out what's going on with your person, right? And I hadn't even thought of that. People do it all the time, right? Your person, what's your person thinking and feeling? When are you going to hear from your person? How about we maybe use the tarot to ask about ourselves? Because this is our own journey, yeah? Don't mind what kind of magician they're being. I mean, of course, if it's someone whose energy is linked with yours, it helps to understand it. Also helps, to warn of danger potentially. But for yourself, this is your journey. This is your journey to becoming a magician, isn't it? Yeah, you start off as the fool. You want to be the best possible magician you can be. So please ask yourself, what kind of magician are you? And what kind of magician do you want to be? And what do you need to do to make that happen? I'm going to say there's a lot of discipline involved. Okay, I don't want to talk too much more now because my heart's really skipping a lot of beats right now. Oh, that's nice. All right, I have shuffled them, but we'll give them 1, 2, 3. We'll just, we'll go to 9. All right. 1, 2. Someone's come out here. Angel of Balance. Okay, we want it to be a balanced magician. That is true. Look at that. I didn't do that. Yes. Okay, we want to be a balanced magician. Okay, beautiful. 1, 2, 3. Let's get more. I'll do 3 in a bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Oh God, they're all over the place though. Oh, this shop. There it is again. What? Maybe that's it. They're just, you know what? They might just be saying, I'm serious. Oh, what's over here? Here it is again. Okay, I think that's the message. Be a balanced magician. Okay. There's a lot of cards there though. Yeah, a lot of cards there. Be a balanced magician. And that means, in this case, I did talk about warfare, but I'm talking about within yourself. Balancing, you might say, your own shadow. I did talk about that before. I think they're really trying to drive that message home. If this isn't a clean shuffle with 3 cards, I will just leave it at that. 1, 2, 3. Go read some Jung if it interests you. Yeah, Carl Jung. He talks about the shadow and integrating it. Oh, I do want to say one thing. Sorry, before I do this. Interestingly, I had a dream last night, and there was a snake. And it was chasing me, and I really didn't want to kill it. Okay, this is because my nature is quite compassionate. Okay, didn't want to kill it. I was really trying just to avoid it, and then I was told in the dream this particular snake is so venomous and so aggressive that you have to destroy it. I had no choice. I cut its head off. Took no pleasure in doing it, but I had no choice but to do it. I really felt that it was the only way. It was either me or the snake. One of us had to go, okay? And then this morning, I got in my email. I haven't even seen who it's from yet. I just read the title of it and thought, I can't believe this. It was like, a snake is coming to harm you in your dreams. No lie. So please watch your dreams, okay? Sometimes they do, particularly if you are somebody who is very much a light warrior, very much in the light, and there's not much they can do to you by day. They may try to get to you by night. And I've spoken about how they try to do that to kids as well, yeah? You'd be amazed some of the things that have come out of my kids' mouths. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Anyway, let's keep it clean. 1, 3 clean cards. 3. Oh, no, see, that's not clean. What? Oh, God. That's probably the snake that was in my dream, by the way. You know how I feel about this card. And, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Okay, thank you, Jesus. Yeah. What do I want to say? I mean, I know you came up for a reason. Why did you come up? Just give me a moment to listen to what he's saying, okay? One moment, and then we'll call it a day. Because I just spoke about a snake, yeah? And it's interesting. I don't want to get into it, but I did actually hear something about... feminines who don't mean you well, okay, this morning. And I even responded to it online. What do you want to say? Jesus, do you have words for them, or is that it? Are we done? Destroy or transmute is what he's saying. Always go for transmutation if you can. If you can't, if it's not an option, you have to destroy. If you want a little bit more information on that, please email me and I'll elaborate privately. I think we're done for the day. Wow. I don't even know what to think of this reading, to be honest, but that's it. That's your reading for the day.